This is video 304 on comparative advantage. Here I can determine the mutually beneficial terms of trade between countries. So we've said countries should specialize in the good that they have the comparative advantage in and then trade for the rest. This begs the question, what should the terms of trade be where both countries gain because of this transaction? In the example we previously did with the United States and Malaysia, we said that Malaysia had the comparative advantage in clothes because they had the lower opportunity cost, and that the United States had the comparative advantage in software because they had the lower opportunity cost here. Let me also make the point that notice the United States has the absolute advantage in both products, but because of comparative advantage, we're still saying it would benefit both the United States and Malaysia if they stuck to making the product that they have the comparative advantage in and then traded with the other country for the other product. So how do you find the mutually beneficial terms of trade? For one of a particular good, you look at the opportunity costs to the countries of making that good and find some number in between them. So, for example, let's say Malaysia, they're just making clothes, but they want to trade one piece of clothing to the United States. How much software should they get back where it benefits both Malaysia and the United States? So one piece of clothing, look at the two opportunity costs in terms of clothes. For the United States, theirs was 2/3 software. For Malaysia, theirs was 1/3 software. So what we're saying is it would be mutually beneficial if Malaysia traded one piece of clothing to the United States and received some amount of software in return between 1/3 and 2/3. It's got to be in between. It can't be equal to. We can also put this in terms of software. For one software, the two opportunity costs were 1.5 close and 3 close. So if the United States traded one software to Malaysia, it would benefit both countries if Malaysia received some number in between 1.5 and 3 close in return. So, for example, if the term of trade was one software for 2 close, that would benefit both the United States and Malaysia. If it was one software for 3 close, that would not be mutually beneficial. That would only benefit the United States. If it was one software for 5 close, that would not be beneficial at all. Now, where does the gain come in? Malaysia's comparative advantage was in close, the United States was in software. Here were the two ranges of trade that would work. So let's say they set a term of trade of one software for 2 close. The United States is making software, Malaysia is making close. The United States is going to trade one software to Malaysia and receive 2 close in return. And we're saying both countries will gain because of that specialization in trade. Let's compare it to both countries under self-sufficiency. First, looking at the United States. If the United States decided it was self-sufficient, it wasn't going to worry about Malaysia at all, it was going to try to make both clothes and software. If the United States gave up one software, they could gain 1.5 pieces of clothing by making it. So give up one software, stop making one software, and then make 1.5 clothes instead. That was the United States' opportunity cost in one software. Now, with specialization in trade, we're saying that the United States is going to make one software, give it up, trade it to Malaysia, and they're going to receive 2 pieces of clothing in return. The same resources for the United States that went into making 1.5 close are now going to get them 2 close. For Malaysia, self-sufficiency, they're gaining one software from the United States, but before specialization in trade, if Malaysia decided to make one software themselves, they would have to give up 3 close. They couldn't make 3 close. That was their opportunity cost. Now, with specialization in trade, they're just sticking to making close. They're receiving one software from the United States, and they'll trade the United States 2 close in return. So here Malaysia benefits as well. In order to gain the same thing, one software, they're giving up less. Both countries gain because of specialization and trade. Now you try. In this example with China and Japan fish and cars, we previously did it, so you already have calculated the opportunity costs. Now, which of the following would be a mutually beneficial term of trade? Pause the video here and find the answer. The opportunity costs we found were as follows, and therefore the mutually beneficial ranges of trade for one fish would be some number between 2 and 5 clothes, or for one cars, between 2 and 5 cars, or for one car between 1/5 and 1/2 fish. So out of the potential terms of trade listed A through E, the one that would work, that would be mutually beneficial, is A, one fish for 3 cars. Because if you look at the mutually beneficial range of trade for fish, some number between 2 and 5 cars, and 3 is in between there. The other ones don't work. They're either equal to the range or they're beyond the range.